Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again here with Bosstrack. I'm Kayla Hamric, and here I have Michele Zipper. So here at Bosstrack, for those of you that are new, we are an organization that helps women in the business world, and we really want to create that community where everyone feels involved and that they can create an impact when they step into these leadership roles. And now today we do have Michele Zipper, functional diagnostic, functional practitioner, and she's here to guide us through the importance of leadership and wellness together.
Hi,
How are you
guys.
doing?
Hi, Kayla. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Can you take us a little introduction about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am up in Westchester, and I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. It's such like a mouthful, and a co-owner with my partner Deb of the Well Center, which is a small integrative center with acupuncture and chiropractic care and energy work. So we're a small but mighty little center up in Westchester.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Love it. I love the little small companies. We got to support them as well. And as you're
absolutely.
continuously growing, obviously, we love to have you on here.
Thank you.
And the Well Center, how did it get started? How did you guys decide to go about?
So actually, it's a really great story. Deb and I both met. We both moved up here about 6 years ago, and we met and we got it connected by a few people. We were like, "You have to meet each other," and we did, and we fell in love with each other as best friends. Like it was like instant connection.
Oh,
She was an acupuncturist in the city. Yeah, she was an acupuncturist who like had her own business in the city, and I had just gone back to school to become a health coach after 20 years of graphic design. I was a graphic designer for many years, but
awesome.
um, we all have a story of how we got into wellness. And for me, my husband and my son were both had autoimmunes, so I had to learn a lot really quickly on how to heal them, how to cook for them, how to how to read labs, all of that stuff. And so I kind of switched careers because once I learned how to help them, I was like, I have to help the world. I have to just, education is key. And that was 6 years ago. And right now, wellness is everywhere, I feel like. But
Mhm.
even 6 years ago, it wasn't. It was really hard to find information. And so I wanted to be an advocate for people that were struggling and going through similar situations that didn't know where to turn. So Deb and I met, and within a year, we kind of just were sitting and having lunch one day, and I was like, I feel like we need a wellness center here. And she goes, I just bought the URL, the Well Center. I've been wanting to do this, and I was like, we shook on it. We're like, we're doing it.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so
Everything works out for a
it
reason,
was,
right?
and I never questioned it. I think because I had done so much work, and this kind of is like leads into what I think we're talking about, and like leading by example.
Hmm.
I just had done so much work, and I was like, you know what? This feels right to me. And when something feels right in your body, it just I have not once questioned it in 5 years. And so that was kind of the beginning. A year later, we were open 5 months before COVID started. So that was
Right?
good timing.
The world is telling us we need to focus on our wellness. So you're set up perfectly.
Yes, exactly. We did have to pivot a little bit because we are a hands-on business. So,
Yes.
there was that, but it's been great. It's really
That's
been great.
awesome. I love the beginning of your journey.
Yeah.
So, for people who are ready to embark on their journey, what
Mhm.
advice would you give to them as like the beginner stages?
As far as opening a business or
Oh,
starting
as
something.
far as like embarking on their wellness
Oh,
journey?
on their wellness journey. Well, I think you have to realize where you're at, right? Everybody comes to it from a different state. There's a lot of information out there, and I think finding someone that you trust to
Hmm.
really help guide you, instead of just reading and researching, because there's so much information out there, and a lot of it is not, it's some of it's fake, some of it's just people, forwarding information that they don't necessarily. There's not a lot of research based stuff out there, and you have to dig for it.
Yeah.
So finding someone, I think, to guide you and to meet you where you're at and really like hold your hand a little bit step by step to start implementing things.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And just finding someone who can guide you through the step by step. Would there
Absolutely.
be any specific things they'd be able to start on their own if they're not sure if they want to begin the journey yet?
Yeah. I mean, I think journaling is really important because
Hmm.
reflection, right? Learning who you are and what you want and what starting to listen to your body, I think is the key, right? So a lot of times I say, like, I work with people and I figure out how aware are they of their own body, of their own thoughts, of their own mind, their actions, and how willing are they to change, right? So some people could say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to be healthy, or, they'll say to me, you're so healthy, I wish I was like you. But
Yeah,
how willing really are you that, and so I think there's a little bit of awareness and willingness. And then taking that first step and just kind of figuring out, a lot of things that I do is called DRESS. It's an acronym. So it's just how I remember it in my brain, but it's diet, rest, sleep, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation. So,
okay.
I kind of hit holistically all, even though nutrition is in my title, it's, I do hit all of that.
A little
Um,
bit of
and
everything.
so it's kind of taking a step and saying, okay, where's my, what's my food at? Am I sleeping enough? Like all the basics. If you aren't going to work with somebody, it's really just taking a look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you guys do mention that you hone in on personalization on your approach. How important is that
It
through
is so important.
your business, through everything, honestly?
Yeah, I think bioindividuality is like a key word because for us, especially when it comes to food or exercise or sleep, one, there's not one fit everybody mold, right? Like everything, I've seen a lot of experience, a lot of times where like a healthy food for somebody is actually like their worst nightmare for somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who celery was like her biggest thing. Like she was doing celery juice because that was kind of trending at the moment,
Yes.
and was getting sicker, right? I mean, and was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And until like they did some food sensitivity testing and like, no, you're really sensitive to celery, which is like a healthy food that no one would ever question. So
Yeah.
for
I know
that person,
having an
right?
issue with something like that. And it's just crazy how one to one person it can change.
Exactly, exactly. Apples I've seen come up on people's tests that they're really, they're super sensitive. So it's, everybody is different. And I think that's where for me, the testing comes in.
Hmm.
People say to me, what can I do to get healthier? Like, what are the few supplements that I need? And I'm like, well, you could do a probiotic. A lot of people say add a probiotic in, but if you have too many probiotics, then it's actually not good either. So that's where testing, I think, comes into play to really figure out like, okay, this is what my body actually needs instead of just figuring out like, oh, these are the few supplements that'll make my body healthy.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's really crazy. Like changing from one person to another, something may work, whether it's like a lot of sleep, 10 hours of sleep versus someone else may just need 8 or something like that. It's just crazy when it goes from one to another. And
Exactly.
taking this into a leadership role, like maybe on a corporate level, how important is it for them to focus on their self before reaching out and being able to lead a team or a company?
Well, I really do think authenticity is the key here and really knowing who you are in order to lead. Like I don't really believe that you can fully truly lead with your whole body, heart and soul without knowing who you are.
Yes,
So I
completely.
think doing a lot of self-reflection and I know for me, like I wouldn't have been able to run this well center like 10 years ago because I had done a lot of soul searching in the past 10 years, and
Mhm.
so today I'm still growing, like every day is different, but I think that you have to know who you are or else you're going to get caught up in the weeds.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
So now that like we have gotten into that leadership role and we're kind of stepping through it, but some people realize that they hit a bump in the road. They thought that they have discovered themselves, but then they move on through their life and they're already at the top. But they're looking back and they're like, what have I done? What advice would you give on someone who's already been through the process, but they might be hitting another roadblock? Because in my experience, it's completely normal to make it all the way through and then have different issues come up.
Absolutely. I think there's never really making it through, right?
Mhm.
I do think you're always pushing and always there's new levels and there's no glass ceiling or, capacity of where you can stop.
Yes.
If the whole glass ceiling concept was actually really big for me because I always had the imposter syndrome in my brain. Like when I was a graphic designer, I was like, oh, I just never thought that I could be that person. And now I'm looked at as a leader in this community, and, people come to us for resources, and like, I would never have looked at myself like that, but you just have to kind of have faith in that. And I also think that every bump is a learning experience. I mean, just recently, a few weeks ago, I had something happen in my business with a client that, whether it just was a disagreement, right? It can't always be smooth sailing. And it was the first time I'd actually had a disagreement like this.
Yeah.
And I had, like, at first I was upset for a little bit, and then I really thought through it, and I was like, no, what is this teaching me? And so I think if you look at that and what is this teaching me? Everything. I mean, a lot of people that go through these wellness journeys, they came there through some sort of hardship, right? Like, I don't know too many people in the wellness and health field that haven't come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I think if we look at it as where can this bring me? Where can this lead me? And what is it trying to teach me? Then I think you're looking at it as less of a bump in the road and just more like, okay, like, let's get to the next step, bring it on.
Yeah. Taking the next thing on as well.
Yeah.
And kind of like that, going into those aspects of leadership and wellness, and knowing what works for you, but also finding the boundaries of stepping outside of your comfort zone, because I believe that's super important in discovering yourself, but also finding new opportunities to grow, or even just bettering your day-to-day life. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's, I look at all the interactions I have with people, and I'm just so grateful for all of them, the good and the bad. And I just take one interaction at a time. And I think that, leading a group, and we have a group of 10 people that, a lot of people have their own businesses, but we're leading it as a kind of a community here. And the way I have to interact with all of them is just, I've grown so much from just that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing actually was so interesting that my partner and I did when we first started is we went through like a whole exercise to really understand who we are and what we wanted as team and as partners. And so we went through like a whole pillar exercise where
wow.
we got like I think we have 6 pillars, which
Okay.
education, community, excellence, right? Like, so anytime someone would come looking for some, to become part of our community, we would kind of say, do they fit all of these criteria? Or if we have to make a decision, someone wants an event, to do an event with us. Does it excellent, right? Like, is the person like, does it fit our education? Are we trying to help the community? Like, all of that, we kind of align it with our pillars. And if it does align, then we're all, go. If not, we kind of put a halt on it. And so I think that was really interesting. And then the other thing that we did while we were going through this pillar exercise was learning about our communication style, which I think is really important as a leader.
Very important.
To learn how, like, the style of all the people you communicate. Like, we know everyone that works with us has a different way of communicating. They have a different energy about them, right? So like, I know I am a very emotional person. I use a lot of exclamation points. Like, all of that. Where my, I mean, people like that. I don't know if you're one of them, but my partner is much more like, just very, like, everything in text is business-like. So we had to learn, okay, this is how I do things, this is how she does things. And we're not going to take it personally, right? Like, if she doesn't use an exclamation point, even though that's kind of my style,
yes.
I'm not going to take it as like she's, mad or something's wrong. It's just, this is her style. And so we really had to go through a lot of that to really understand. And we haven't, I mean, I'm knocking on wood, but we haven't had any, it's been 5 years, and we just have gotten through all issues because we're able to communicate in the way that the other person needs it.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially now that you understand yourself. And then when you can take that next step and take in consideration the people around you, especially as a leader, or mentorship, which is really big for our Bosstrack community. We love to offer these mentorships for people and just create a community that you can lean on one another. But understanding their communication styles is a large aspect of that, whether it's how they give or they receive, and that can be different person to person.
Yeah, absolutely. And even as, like, working with clients, it's the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Like, I talk to every client differently. It's what they need, it's how they need to hear things, what they need to hear. And, that's part of being a good leader and, a good coach, a good business person. and really just making people feel heard in the way that they need it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
That backpacks on top of the mentorship topic. How important would you say that is in leadership?
Oh, I think it's so important. I really do. I think my whole experience in my previous career and in this career, I have always had a mentor, multiple,
Mhm.
and I think in my bio, it's all about the amazing people that I've worked with that have gotten me to where I am. I mean, yes, it's my schooling. I've been through masters and all that stuff, but it's also the people I work with. I mean, my partner, Deb, is like one of my mentors, even though she would never think of herself as my mentor, but I've just learned so much from.
Friends can be our mentors sometimes, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you keep them around because you love being around them and they make you a better person. It's just,
exactly. Yeah, and I do think we always need people in our life that make us better people, whether it's friends, family, right? And if they bring us down, then you have to take a look at that and what's happening for you, for them. But yeah, we always need mentors. I have always had people that I've learned, and there's nothing wrong with having a mentor, right? Because you're not expected to know everything, especially when you
you have
started.
to learn. You need people to help you out,
Yeah,
especially like women in the business world or just in life. We need buddies. We need people to guide us in the right direction, show us what to do. It's not just a free for all. Okay, here's you're put into this role now. Good luck. No, that's not realistic. We
no.
need to help each other out.
Absolutely. And that's the best thing. And I am actually a part of a few different women groups as well. And I know Bosstrack is amazing at this. I like the mentorship and the leadership that you guys are creating is fantastic for people that don't have anything like this,
Yeah.
that don't have it into their built-in community.
Mhm.
But the women networks that I've become a part of, I've been insanely
Definitely life
growth.
changing. Once you've entered one and become a part, it's like, wow, I didn't even realize I was missing this piece.
Yes.
And then it's just life changing and you can continue on your life in an upward arrow. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
alrighty, now kind of heading out into our conclusion. Do you have any
Yeah.
last points for our audience and our community?
I mean, I think just lean on your people, right? Lean on who works for you and who can give you some advice for little things. And I think, a huge network of people is just it's the way that you're going to be able to build your business and just run your business authentically. That if something feels good for you, it probably does work. And if it doesn't, you have to listen to that little gut instinct in your tummy. It's true. The little butterflies, I always say to my kids, excitement and nerves are the same feeling. It
Mhm.
just feels differently. It's coming across differently, but you do have to listen to that feeling, whether something feels good or not, and usually your instinct, if you're clear headed, then you can listen to that.
Yeah, that is some great advice, and we will make sure to make that active in our day to day lives.
Yes.
And now, would you like to let us know where we would be able to reach you and the Well Center at all for those that
Sure.
are interested? Because it is a great place to get started.
Absolutely. So it's the Well Center is our website, and my email is Michele with one L at the Well Center, and my Instagram is Michele Zipper Health, and we're the Well Center NY also.com. Sorry, Instagram is the Well Center NY. And yeah, and I do everything virtually as well. I do a lot of stuff at the center, but I see people all over the country. So there's nothing, you don't have to be local in Westchester to take advantage of some of our services.
Oh, that's awesome. So feel free to reach out to Michele Zipper whenever you get a chance. And thank you all so much for joining us. Reach out to us on thebosstrack.com. And I look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks, Michele, for joining me today.
Thanks, Kayla. Thanks for having me.
Bye.